And also,
get your 50 free packs, you know what I'm saying? And get all your leader rewards and all that stuff. Just try it for free for a couple days. That's right.
And remember, kind of in Twitch chat, there's opportunities for you guys to support the streamers that you like the most. I think there's like a point system going on there, and you can kind of support who you think
for
is
your
going to
favorite
win.
players.
And we're going to have more of that stuff coming in the semis as well, so make sure you guys keep engaged and tuned in at Shadowverse Games, the Twitter channel, if you guys want to scream about anything, talk about the decks that these players have brought, and the creativity that they have demonstrated. But here we go, kicking off the Forestcraft mirror match.
This is looking like old Forestcraft with Thijs' hand over here. He's got the Goblin into the Fairy Whisperer. He does have, oh, okay.
Goblins.
Now he's got the Wood of, more Goblins. Big nose Goblins. Yeah. And against J4ckieChan over here, who doesn't have quite as quick of a start, but does have a lot of firepower in the hands of Elf Song like we were just talking about, and now removal with Sylvan Justice. Great draw.
Sylvan Justice, I think you're probably... I mean, board control is very important when you're fighting against Wood of Brambles, especially in the form of spells.
Yes.
So I imagine that he probably wants to save that for a good scenario, you know?
Plus, you get value. When you're on the plane, you get a 2-drop. Your opponent has the Goblin. You actually get a turn to just take the Goblin out, kind of for free, right? It's what we would like to call a value trade.
Yes, a value trade.
That's right. Where you get to keep your follower and destroy your opponents.
Yes. Wood of Brambles is going to be big here for Thijs. Going to allow him to trade up in scenarios that he wouldn't normally be able to, and also, as you mentioned, find value.
Well, this is huge, right? So this really comes down to how much have you played Shadowverse and what you actually want to do with your curve, right? So he could play Wood of Brambles this turn. He elected not to. Or you can save it to try to build up that massive board so it's a lot harder to take out and maybe build up for a future Elf Song or something like that.
Yep.
It's very interesting to me to see when players play their Wood of Brambles.
I think that's very important in Jackie's case, right? Because you might be tempted to swing into the 2-1 or the 1-2 Goblin there to just have that value trade, but then you open yourself up to the trade from the Fairy Whisperer. And I think definitely leaving followers on board is going to be less than good for Jackie, because if that Wood of Brambles comes down,
J4ckieChan playing like he's been playing this game forever. He's like, you know what? I know what Wood of Brambles is. Okay, I play that card. You get no followers.
Yeah. Very, very good decisions. And that kind of puts Thijs in a slightly more interesting spot. Not the evolution turn yet, so he cannot immediately impact the board on play. No followers with Rush or Storm as well. So I think he's going to, we'll have to see if he
will try to get that Wood of Brambles active. Yeah. That's the biggest draw he has going for his hand currently.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness. Is that Okami?
Okay.
Okay.
There's nothing to kind of play alongside now. Okami is gain +1/+1 for every follow that comes into play after it is dropped. Only on the Okami, not everything.
Right. That would be crazy. Yeah.
What a card.
Yeah.
I want that card.
What a card.
Yeah.
Everything just gets monstrous every time you do anything. Let's go. Yeah. So Tweedledee is essentially activating this Elf Song because it counts as an extra spell being played this turn. Elf Song activated if 2 spells have been played before it.
Nice, and continue to go for the board trades here. Now, I only kind of briefly looked over each of these players' lists, but I do think Thijs actually has slightly more push on the end game. We already see that there's the Aaron in hand. And that might be a little bit concerning for Jackie. This definitely is going to come down to a very scrappy game because they have a bunch of smaller followers, right? And if you're continuing to just trade in this way, you're going to run out of options very quick.
So let's talk about what Thijs said before the game. I really wanted to build a board-focused deck, right? So it looks like a lot of his options are just to keep the board clear.
Yes.
Now, that's going to play into his favor the longer this game goes because J4ckieChan, as we talked about, has a very low curve, very aggressive curve. Still, Thijs is at 20 defense at the moment.
Yep. And this is going to be value right here. Each of these followers get basically a free trade into anything that is 1 defense.
That's right.
And can trade up. I mean, a fairy can do up to 4 points of damage on a swing here.
Absolutely. And now you get to see the 2 free value trades here, I believe. Unless Thijs really wants to take out that 3/3.
Yeah, it's a good question here. I do think it's good to go for the value
always
here because, I mean, that's 3 different now targets that Jackie has to swing into, and that's going to be, unless you have removal or something like that, that's going to be tough.
I really want to see not just beyond this match, you know what I mean, like how these decks fare against, what we've seen in, constructed mid-range Shadow or constructed Burn Runecraft. Is somebody like Thijs or J4ckieChan wins? I feel like that should throw a wrench into some people's heads to be like, oh, you can actually do things that beat these decks that I wasn't thinking about. I love it.
Yeah, that is definitely an area of investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And breaking away from the meta is very, very important in a card game. Understanding how to dance that dance, right?
That's right.
Figure that out.
Looks like Jackie is still using his evolution orbs to be defensive here. Really feels like the board is slipping away from him, so he is trying to take it back as we speak.
Yeah. Oh man, and look at that, the Wood of Brambles, and even leaving a follower at 1, not a good sign, because on the next turn, Thijs can again get that free trade against the 3/1 with just the 1/1 fairy.
And plays one of the newer Forestcraft legendaries, Insect Lord. So kind of what I want to call the replacement for Rhinoceros in the design philosophy at Side Games. Instead
Less aggressive.
Yeah, right.
But still very much control-oriented and based on cards played.
Right. So instead of a 2-play 0.11 that has Storm and gets +1/+0 for every spell that was played before it, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Now it's just a 1/1 always that will deal X damage to a random enemy follower based on the spells that you played before it, including itself.
So it can kind of punch up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, assuming that Thijs is going for the play, he can guarantee that the target is going to be the 4/4. Okami, by the way, just gets +1/+0.
Right.
So apologies for that. But I don't know if that's a choice that Thijs is going to go for. In fact, he might. There might be a world where he plays the Insect Lord and sees if he can get a free trade against the Okami.
That's true. That is true. He could go with Sylvan Justice this turn, too. He could go face. He could evolve and go face. He has a lot of options here.
One time, 50-50, left, right, left.
Oh, nice. Now he can just evolve and clear board.
Yep, and have everything unscathed.
That's right. Everything
Wood of
unscathed.
Brambles is really flexing.
It does that. When one deck draws Wood of Brambles, especially in a mirror match, and one deck doesn't, it feels bad.
Yeah. Like, Jackie does not look amused.
Yeah.
He's
like, what is this nonsense? He feels the same way I do when I go on the ladder and I play against Forestcraft, and they always have Wood of Brambles every time. Oh my goodness.
I just love all these cards that these different players are playing. Tweedledum, Tweedledee. We saw it a little bit, but definitely not commonly.
Well, he's playing a deck that's chock full of things to actually get value out of it. So I just really like the fact that I'm a new player. You know, I go into this game, oh, this entire class is built around playing multiple spells a turn.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I play the follower that does that for me?
Yes.
It's great.
Rain, the Elfsmith, says if you played at least 3 cards this turn, have another ally follower +1/+0, and rush. That follower can't be damaged.
Yeah. Very good way to actually defeat something
Yes.
with that follower with the Wood of Brambles in play.
Yeah, and especially because now you get kind of multiple points of value. I talked about, you know, when you have multiple bodies on board, it's hard to find the sources to swing into that, you know? And having a card that you can evolve and have the potential to swing with the evolve card because it gives you rush innately, and then empower another follower on board to do the same, gives you a good tempo play.
That's right. And we'll just look at Thijs' hand. Like he maintained. So this is the big swing part of the game, right? Both players have actually been doing a very good job of keeping each other's boards clean. How is one of these players, or how are one of these players going to be able to punch through at the end?
Yeah.
What's the punch through card here?
Weld Philosopher. Again, just more board-centric stuff. Trying to enable Thijs to trade up in situations he wouldn't normally be able to. But as you mentioned, both these players' hands are, you know, running dry a little bit. And I do think that Aaron is probably the big card out of the ones that we see now that's going to allow kind of a breakthrough. You get the extra evolution orb, you get the ward, you get the stats, you get the healing.
It's huge. And not just that, like you said, the ward I think is going to show up huge in this matchup because right now J4ckieChan's running on fumes. As soon as
Treants is activated.
There we go. As soon as something like that Aaron comes out and gets that extra evolution orb to be this big, huge, imposing ward.
Yeah. And look at that. I mean, you have a full board that can be hiding behind the Aaron.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And
now
no
another
evolution
Wood of
orbs.
Brambles.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, this
All
is
right,
going to
Thijs.
be... Yeah. Okay, he's still continuing to go for value. He says, you know what? I understand. I'm just going to keep these cards on board. The less evolution orbs you have, the less cards you have in hand. Thijs is surgical.
Control Forestcraft with none of the usual control suspects, just Wood of Brambles and fairies and card generation. I love it.
All right. Well, Sukuna up here is going to give a little bit of aggression towards Jackie, but that's not what he's looking for right now.
Nope. And this will be everything he has left. And JackieChan can't be feeling about this.
All cards on the table.
Cannot be feeling good about this.
Literally.
Yeah. I'm all in. This is what I got.
Yep.
Yep. And technically speaking, you can deal with it on board for the most part.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
There it is.
There it
The
is.
Averid Enhanced means you can opt to play this card for a more expensive cost, and it'll give you additional effects. In this case, gives you additional evolution orbs. So Thijs has the ability to evolve 4 times this game, and that is going to be real tough for Jackie to handle. No cards in hand, no cards on the table, and you're looking at a board state that has 9 damage, 10 damage.
Ooh, the big nose off the top.
Oh, no, dead on board here.
Oh, no.
And JackieChan.
That is not what you like to see.
Yeah. That, you know, it's interesting looking at these kind of games here. Both players, I feel like, did not quite have as much draw as kind of typically Shadowverse players like to put in their decks. There's a Pure-Hearted Singer in Thijs' deck here, but he definitely had his game plan laid out in front of him as he kind of played this match.
And honestly, like you said, it looked surgical. Thijs just understood.